It's Charles Barkley with Wayfair. It's outdoor season, and my patio setup better be ready to play. That's where Wayfair wins. Patio seating, umbrellas, and grills, all delivered fast and easy. Shop wayfair.ca now.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
The Elias Macco Show. News Talk Radio. CJAD 800.
A little Ariana Grande to get you going in the 11 o'clock hour of the Elias Macco Show. I'm Trudy Mason sitting in. We're playing Ariana Grande because her sold-out run at the Bell Center will have a little bit of a twist on the sidelines. There will be a nonprofit there that is dedicated to encouraging young people to be politically active. We welcome to our airwaves Ash Montgomery, Director of Communications with Apathy is Boring. Ash, hello.
Hi, good morning.
Tell us about Apathy is Boring. What is the goal?
Yeah, so like you said, our organization is a nonpartisan nonprofit. So essentially we help young people become active citizens. So beyond just going out to vote, we know obviously democracy is about so much more than that. So yeah, we create fun, practical ways for engaging young people to get involved in their communities, whether it be volunteering, whether it be at the municipal, provincial, or federal level, and just to make sure that they feel like they have a voice.
The activities you'll be offering alongside Ariana Grande's concerts in Montreal this week, were they at her suggestion? Did you approach her? Does she know that you're going to be there?
I hope she knows that we're going to be there. No, I think she does. Actually, she runs a foundation called the Brighter Days Ahead Foundation, and they're the ones that reached out to us. So it turns out Ariana Grande cares a lot about getting young people out to vote. At her American shows, she works with another organization called Headcount, which does similar work. So yeah, her foundation reached out to us, and we were super excited to collaborate. We actually did so in 2019. The last time she came to Montreal, we did something very similar. So yeah, we're super excited. We're going to be there tonight. We're going to be there for all 3 shows in Montreal.
And what will you be doing?
We will have a table set up, so a booth set up. You'll see the Apathy is Boring signage, and essentially all folks will need to do is scan a QR code, and they'll make a pledge to vote in the upcoming Quebec provincial election. They don't have to tell us who they're voting for or anything. It's just to kind of say that they plan on going to vote. And then we're going to be giving away some Ariana Grande themed merch, so little vote buttons, and our staff will be there to chat to people.
What arguments do you use to counter some of the fatalism? We were talking in an earlier interview this morning with someone who says young people today can, veer towards being very fatalistic about the future. They don't see, being able to find a job or make a career for themselves. They don't see the ability to eventually buy a house. They're not finding a lot of positivity out there. And I would assume that would extend into apathy towards politics too, if they feel that, I don't vote because nothing changes. How do you counter that type of approach?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the reasons our organization is named Apathy is Boring, because that's what we try and instill in young people, that it's so boring to not care. So we try and encourage young people to get involved and to get them to understand that voting does matter. Voting matters because the people elected ultimately make decisions that affect your everyday life. So provincially speaking, obviously from healthcare to public transit, if young people don't vote, decisions about their future are made without them in the room. So that's why we do the work that we do.
How do you enforce your position that you are apolitical, that you are nonpartisan, you're not endorsing any particular cause or political party or narrative about world events or anything like that?
Yeah, so we are completely nonpartisan. Our goal really at the end of the day is just helping young people realize that democracy isn't something you watch happen around you. It's something you really have to take part in. So we run a bunch of different programs that essentially just encourage people to get involved. We're never telling people how to think or how to vote. It's really just to encourage people to take part. We run a very popular program called RISE. So it's a group leadership program where essentially young people collaborate to create a community impact project. And then we also run a similar program called Build, which is a little bit more virtual. So it's more on an individual basis, but very similar. So an individual leadership program that helps young people turn their ideas for change into reality. And then we financially support them to do so.
Are members of your group actually going to have time to enjoy the music at the concerts as well as doing all the handshaking and discussion with members of the crowd?
Yeah, we hope so. I was vibing to the music you were playing at the beginning of the segment. So definitely excited to actually catch a glimpse of Ariana Grande. If we can, we'll be there about 90 minutes ahead of the show. So we'll be tabling, chatting to people. We'll be there for a little bit after the show, too, to catch anyone on their way out. But yeah, we're hoping to definitely peek our ears in and listen to some songs, too.
All right. Ash Montgomery, thank you for the interview.
Thanks so much.
Ash Montgomery, Director of Communications with Apathy is Boring. It will be speaking to concert goers at Ariana Grande's sold-out concerts this week, her sold-out tour here in Montreal this week, encouraging young people to become politically active. It is 11:15. We go to this.
It's Charles Barkley with Wayfair. It's outdoor season, and my patio setup, that'll be ready to play. That's where Wayfair wins. Patio seating, umbrellas, and grills, all delivered fast and easy. Shop wayfair.ca now.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Unmistakably Canadian.
It's the music that raised you.
The artists raising the bar.
Hi, this is Brian Adams.
Hey, my name's Brett Emmons. I'm from the Glorious Sons.
Hi, I'm Nelly Furtado.
Made in Canada. The station that champions Canadian music.
Loud, proud, and all yours.
No passports required. Just press play.
Tap into Made in Canada now on iHeartRadio.ca
Or the free iHeartRadio app.
Time is valuable. Thanks for spending your morning with us. The Elias Macco Show on News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
So pleased to be speaking to my next guest because I think his take is one we badly need. Now, we've known about, various conspiracy theories for decades and decades and decades. We've been talking about some of them, but I think things are different now. And with the rise of social media algorithms, determining what we look at, AI-generated content, trust in our institutions being eroded, all kinds of misinformation circulating so easily online. Conspiracy theories may be reaching more people than ever, and a lot of them don't realize that they are being spun. That is why I welcome to CJAD 800 Nathan Radke, cultural history professor at Humber College and co-author of the book Uncover Up: How to Think Clearly in an Age of Conspiracies. Nathan Radke, are you on the line with us?
Thank you for having me on.
Oh, it's great that you were able to join us. What prompts your interest in conspiracy theories? This is an area of academic interest for you.
I mean, it is, but it took a while for it to build momentum. When I was younger, I studied sort of normal things like philosophy and sociology. I looked into the way ideas formed in society and the way that they spread. But the longer I did this, the more I kept bumping into this idea of the conspiracy theory, until eventually it got to the point where I thought, I think we need to take this seriously as an academic discipline, which at the time required a lot of convincing on my part for my administration. Unfortunately, these days, as you've said in your intro, that's no longer required because we've seen the effect that conspiracy thinking has had on our society in the last few years.
So it's not just perception. You do believe that the situation is a little more dire now because of the ease with which these ideas can circulate.
Well, human beings have always been conspiratorial for a bunch of reasons. One is that conspiracies sometimes are true. And there's some examples in history of some truly bizarre-sounding conspiracy theories that turned out to be accurate. The CIA mind control programs, or bizarre KGB disinformation programs, or the American government considering nuking the moon. These are actual real things that happened. But we also often see things that aren't really there. We find patterns that aren't really there. And the more frightened we are, the more out of control we feel as individuals, the more our brain provides these sort of illusionary patterns to try to explain the threats we feel. And as a society, when you go through difficult times, as we've been going for over a decade now, I think, as a society, we become more conspiratorial, and we start to look more for conspiratorial explanations to try to justify and explain the feelings of dread and fear that we have.
It's almost comforting in a way, I would think, if you could say, oh, well, now that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And because it what it tells you is that it's not all just random, is that there's order to it, and there's somebody behind that.
Yeah, completely. As strange as it sounds, it's in some ways it is more comforting for us to think, oh, there's some kind of evil, all-powerful organization behind the terrible things that happen, rather than thinking we're out here in a world in which chaos and coincidence and random nonsense just happen. And so conspiracy theories often are a way for us to try to reconcile the way we think the world should be with the way the world is actually experienced. And so it's extremely seductive in this way, because conspiracy theories appear to offer these great explanations. But the danger is that false conspiracy theories can actually be used to manipulate populations.
Can you give a current day example of that, where you think a large proportion of a society has been manipulated in their thinking?
Yeah, I'll give you an example of a conspiracy theory which was actually a disinformation campaign on the part of Soviet intelligence in the Cold War. A lot of listeners have probably heard the idea that the CIA was responsible for the HIV virus, for the AIDS epidemic, that was a deliberate action taken by American intelligence agencies. Well, that theory was invented by the KGB as a way of discrediting America and the American government. Now, of course, the Cold War is over, theoretically, and the purpose for that disinformation campaign is gone. But the thing about these ideas is, once you let them go into the information ecosystem, they take on a life of their own. I mean, look at something like the birds aren't real conspiracy.
Oh, yeah.
That started as a joke, but unfortunately, once it was out there, people started taking it seriously, because these ideas, once they're circulating, they become sort of their own organisms.
Just as background for our listeners who may not be familiar with the birds aren't real, thinking, it's that birds are actually spying devices. They're devices that fly and they spy on you. That's correct?
Yeah, they're drone. The reason that they sit on hydro lines is because they are recharging their batteries. Okay. Of course.
Yeah. Okay.
But the thing was, that was started as a joke to kind of show how easy it is for conspiracy theories to spread. But unfortunately, in our current media ecosystem, it blew up, and now there are people who legitimately believe it. The origins of it have been forgotten, and now people are believing it sincerely.
Although these days, I wouldn't put it past some military tech device company to come up with a really small drone that looks like a bird.
Well, this is the other thing, too, is that reality is so strange. And even while the birds aren't real conspiracy started as a joke, I do have to admit that, yes, the CIA was experimenting with using pigeons as spies in the 1960s and 70s.
Oh, okay. Tell us about your advice for critical thinking. Do we always, is it a constant state of alertness that you have to use these days if you're scrolling online or looking at your news feeds?
We have a responsibility. Voltaire once said something like, if you can get somebody to believe an absurdity, you can get them to commit an atrocity. And these days, when our brains are so vulnerable because we spend so much time around screens, so much time around our phones, which means so much of our experience of reality is shaped by algorithms. We have a responsibility in this time period to become as difficult to manipulate as we can be. And what this means is We have to learn about the patterns of false conspiracy theories, the nature of false conspiracy theories, the context in which they emerge, so that we can separate those false ones, which are often deliberately used to manipulate us, from the real ones. And the real ones, obviously, we should know about too, because people in power shouldn't be getting away with doing some of this ridiculous stuff.
What can people do then to inoculate themselves?
Well, there's a bunch of things that we need to do. One thing, and it's very difficult because we live in a very rapid time when information is constantly bombarding us, is that we have to think a little bit slower. We have to realize that the truth is at a disadvantage right now in our information ecosystem, because lies can be deliberately made shocking and novel and exciting and appeal to our biases and appeal to our prejudices, whereas truth is always going to be kind of nuanced and confusing and not entirely satisfying. So one of the things that we should immediately do is, when we feel that something is deliberately trying to manipulate our emotions, not trying to speak to our reason and our rationality, but trying to get us fired up emotionally or afraid, we should kind of get our guard up a little bit and say, okay, what is the motivation here? And what are some of the tools that are being used to try to get me to feel this way? And that's what we go through in the book that dropped today.
Give us an example of a tool you can use to do the test of the idea.
Well, one of the things that you can do is you can say, okay, what is the historical context that this conspiracy theory comes from? A lot of the true conspiracies, the real ones, they take place in a context that makes sense of them. The Cold War, CIA mind control programs, that sounds ridiculous, but they were fighting the Soviets and were worried the Soviets were doing the same thing. Whereas something like the flat Earth conspiracy theory, there'd be no proper motivation to that. It doesn't take place in a context that makes sense of it. Anytime you hear a conspiracy theory where somebody says, they are doing this, we should always ask, who are they? And we should always ask, and why would they do it? And if the answer is, because they are evil, then immediately we should say, okay, this might not be a conspiracy theory that makes much sense.
Are there any of the common theories that you feel you don't want to see again because, in your view, they have been over time completely disproven? I'm just trying to go through my mental filing cabinet of conspiracy theories. The moon landing was faked, for example. Should that die a death right now, or are there still viable questions to be asked?
It's understandable why people believe it, because, again, we have understandable reasons to be distrustful of people in power and governments. And it's important to be open-minded. But open-minded means that we ask questions about stuff like this. It also means we need to be able to listen to the answers, because there are questions people have about the moon landing, but there are answers to those questions. Why does the flag appear to be waving? Good question. But the answer is, it's only waving when astronauts are manipulating the flagpole. Why are there no stars in the pictures? Good question. But there's no stars in the pictures because it was the middle of the day on the moon and the cameras weren't able to pick up the dim light of the stars. So that's another thing, is be willing to listen to the answers to the questions that you have.
And that leans heavily on science often, which, a lot of us don't have any trained background in. So we kind of have to trust the scientists on this question.
Yeah, we have to trust the scientists, and also because we don't tend to directly interact with scientific reports, we tend to interact with those through media, is that we need to develop media literacy so that we can understand when a headline is, a little bit manipulative or a headline is clickbait. We need to be able to separate editorial from reporting. All of these things, they're so crucial in this day and age, more crucial than ever, just because of the situation that we have created through the media and social media.
Nathan, where can people find the book that you have co-authored, Uncover Up: How to Think Clearly in an Age of Conspiracies?
That should be in all independent bookstores and, of course, in all the giant corporations as well.
Thank you very much for your time today, Nathan.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Nathan Radke, cultural history professor at Humber College. After the news, we will speak to a young athlete based here in Montreal who's hoping to raise enough money to get to the junior artistic swimming team World Aquatics Championships. That's in Hungary next month.
It's Charles Barkley with Wayfair. It's outdoor season, and my patio setup, that'll be ready to play. That's where Wayfair wins. Patio seating, umbrellas, and grills, all delivered fast and easy. Shop wayfair.ca now.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
You've heard the chaos. Now you can see it. Oh my God. Watch all your favorite podcasts from start to finish right inside the free iHeartRadio app.
Gets the blood going, huh?
Catch every laugh and eye roll on shows like the Tom Green Farmcast and Park the Bus. Now with full video.
We're building a ramp for Tony Hawk.
It's the same hosts and the same chemistry with all the hilarious moments you've been missing right on your screen.
Cheers.
Open the free iHeartRadio app, search video podcasts, and tap watch.
Stories impacting Montrealers.
News impacting Montreal. The Elias Macco Show.
News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
It's Charles Barkley with Wayfair. It's outdoor season, and my patio setup, that'll be ready to play. That's where Wayfair wins. Patio seating, umbrellas, and grills, all delivered fast and easy. Shop wayfair.ca now.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
iHeartRadio is throwing it back
2010s, the decade.
to the days of huge hits and unforgettable anthems. A non-stop stream of the biggest and best.
Drake, Rihanna, Beyonce, Katie, Gaga, The Weeknd,
And more. All your decade-defining favorites all in one place.
Hi, it's Katy Perry.
Hey, it's Bruno Mars.
This is Kesha.
Find 2010's The Decade on the free iHeartRadio app. Preset the station so it's always one tap away.
You can imagine being an elite athlete and having all the physical challenges that come along with training at an elite level. But for some athletes, another struggle is monetary. If they don't get funding from the government or various sports agencies, then they have to finance the training themselves. And that includes everything that is involved with going to competitions and travel. We're going to speak now with a young athlete who would like to be able to compete at the highest level in her sport, and money is a consideration for her. We welcome to CJAD 800 a transplanted Torontonian now living in Montreal for school and for training, Evie Goddard. Welcome to CJAD.
Thank you so much for having me.
Your sport is artistic swimming. First of all, what is artistic swimming?
Well, it was originally synchronized swimming. The way I describe it is as water ballet. So it's a lot of ups and downs, like holding your breath under the water. It's basically performing a dance routine while holding your breath.
And a solo performer?
Yes, I was also a solo performer this past year. I've done solo, duets, and the 3-team events.
Tell us about your dream for next month.
So as I attend my first World Championships in Budapest, I'm really just looking for a clean, highly artistic swim. This is Canada's, we've attended a Junior Worlds before, but this year we're really pushing for having a higher placement. So I'm really hoping for a top score.
And to that end, what does your training regimen look like? Because you're only a matter of really days out from that event now.
Yeah, so we've been training 40 hours a week, 6 days a week, throughout this summer. So we're heading to Worlds soon. So training's starting to pick up now. We're really working on perfecting our routines because, we're heading to Budapest. I think we have about 2 weeks left.
Tell us about the financial side of what you do. You're 19 years old. You're a student. You're juggling studies with very high level 6 days a week training. And then there's this money question hanging over you. How are you managing to stay competitive, to be able to travel? And why doesn't the team get a substantial amount of funding?
Yeah, so we have not received any government funding so far. There's 14 members of us, so we're all individually fundraising. So, this $12,000 for the summer is covering our training expenses, our coaching expenses, and travel expenses. So we've each started our own Canada Helps fundraiser, online auctions, which I both have linked in my Instagram bio. But
as a team, we've just had to individually, like our families have had to just really help us throughout the summer with the payment. For me personally, I've actually had to take up a part-time job. So on top of the 40 hours, I've been working around 30 hours working at a restaurant, just helping to pay.
That is quite the schedule you're maintaining there. Physically,
yeah.
How do you bear up under a schedule like that? If you're working in a restaurant, you're probably on your feet all day, all shift long, and then you're in the water training and doing gym work too?
I think it's just a matter of balancing, because I guess that's the one thing that your sport really gives you is life skills. So since I've been doing this since I was 7 years old, I've really learned how to balance work, school, and my sport. So I'm really just thinking of this big goal because I've been working at this since I was 7. So I really just have to, push through these next few weeks. But, yeah, it's just all about balance, I think. Just managing my time, making sure I'm prioritizing, my health, and rest, but also just, making sure I'm getting enough money to help support my dream.
What will happen if the GoFundMe falls short? Will your family be able to kind of come to your rescue? Will you be able to travel even if you don't get the donations that you need?
It's tight, but eventually it should be fine, with enough saved up. But I guess that's the one real concern with a lot of the families for the summer is, if we don't, make up the full amount that we need, it's going to be tough to complete the full payment.
It must be frustrating that government doesn't seem to recognize the level at which you're competing. Why is that? Why is your team left out of any funding programs?
So as a sport, I know I'm a part of a very niche sport. It really is sad though that artistic swimming doesn't get the full coverage that it deserves. Because when you really look at it, it's a difficult sport, and I think a really beautiful sport to watch. So we just really need more exposure. I think the more exposure we get, the more people will see it, the more people will appreciate it, and then eventually more funding will come. But I really just think we need the exposure. The sport just needs the exposure that it deserves, first of all.
At one time, synchronized swimming was very big. Certainly here in Quebec, we've had track record of having successful athletes in synchronized swimming. Did something change? What changed?
Recently, we've been on the up actually in results, but yeah, there was a really big time where Canada was really, really strong on the world stage. I think we're working up to that again. It's just falling behind other sports that are more popularized in Canada. So I really think more people just need to speak out about it because we're just kind of here and, we're on the up and up, but we need to be talking about it. We need to be posting about it, posting more videos and just really sharing our own stories for people to appreciate that more.
It does seem to me that some of the sports that have a more artistic bent where the judging can be a little bit more subjective. In other words, it's not a stopwatch on you or it's not measuring how far you jumped and something concrete like that. It's more the impression of the judges that those sports don't seem to get the same respect as others where it's more scientifically proven who won.
Definitely, yeah. I find a lot of female-dominated sports, artistic sports, they don't get the coverage they deserve. Like, I think about sports like rhythmic gymnastics, especially artistic swimming. It is hard, especially with the recent rule changes within my sport. In 2022, 2023, there were massive changes as to how the sport was scored. It's a lot more of an objective way, but I find that it really affects as the audience sees the routines, as it's more of a difficulty-based routine now instead of artistic. So I feel like we're still figuring out as a sport, where we fall on the spectrum of like being fully artistic, but finding a way to measure the difficulty. So I feel like we're still working those things out for an audience to really appreciate the routine and the athlete as a whole.
Looking past the 2026 World Aquatics Junior Artistic Swimming Championship in Hungary next month, what is your goal?
My goal is to compete at the highest level possible to represent the Maple Leafs, represent my country. The Olympics has been a dream of mine since I was since I was 7, since I've started the sport, and it goes for pretty much my whole team, either to represent our country at a World Cup, a Senior World Cup, or the Olympics. But as of right now, it's just to feel really accomplished in my performance at this World Cup, at my first junior and last junior World Cup, as this is my last year as a junior athlete.
Where, Evie, can people find out more about the team, about the sport, and about the fundraiser?
Well, there's a lot of information on CanadaArtisticSwimming.ca. That's our main website. We also do have an Instagram account for our junior national team. It's junior_CAS_2026. We post a lot of content about our latest training updates, about our competition coming up. There will be a lot of posts regarding that. And then on my own personal Instagram, I've been really trying to keep up with content. We've just been trying to post videos, pictures, trying to really show what we can accomplish this summer.
Evie, the very best of luck to you for next month and beyond.
Thank you so much.
We've been speaking with Evie Goddard, artistic swimmer, heading to the junior championships next month and maybe even further. We are up against traffic.
It's Charles Barkley with Wayfair. It's outdoor season, and my patio set up, they'll be ready to play. That's where Wayfair wins. Patio seating, umbrellas, and grills, all delivered fast and easy. Shop wayfair.ca now.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Hey, I'm Ruby Carr, the host of the podcast Encore. Check out our brand new episodes featuring music from the show that everyone is reheating as we speak, Heated Rivalry. Join me as I go behind the songs that brought Shane and Elia together. I'll tell you the stories of Feist, My Moon, My Man, Wolf Parade's I'll Believe in Anything, and Tattoo's All the Things She Said, and how they all became a part of this global phenomenon. Stream Encore on iHeartRadio, Crave, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah. The Elias Macco Show. News Talk Radio. CJAD 800.
Trudy sitting in for Elias, and I just said to Sue Smith, listening to that promo you just heard, Queen of Krakens, that's the title I want. And then Sue said,
I would take Queen of anything.
Queen of anything? I don't think I've ever been considered Queen of anything.
No.
That would be it. Because that
one day, Trudy.
It gives you permission to wear a tiara.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be fun? Come to work with it. Although you can't get a pair of headphones on over a tiara.
I mean, to be honest, you could just wear a tiara. I mean,
True.
The thing is, when you're like under 10, you just wear tiaras all the time and you think it's perfectly fine with the little, pink skirts and stuff. And then all of a sudden you grow up and you have to stop wearing them.
And yes, society starts frowning on it.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Yikes.
Let's have an international take your tiara to work day.
I think this explains why so many brides like the idea of wearing a tiara.
Yeah.
With their wedding gown, is because as adults we're not supposed to have delusions of grandeur, if you can put it that way. I was just chatting with Evie Goddard. She's an artistic swimmer, is going to the World Juniors championships next month. She's training here in Montreal, and she was saying something interesting about women's sports, about how she feels that a lot of women's sports that have an artistic element don't get the respect they deserve, given the amount of athleticism involved. Mm-hmm. And obviously artistic swimming.
Yeah.
AKA, formerly known
synchro.
As synchro.
I know.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to
yes.
do synchro? Even as a joke. Like, to stick one leg out of the water for 2 seconds requires very, very good swimming skills that I don't have.
I've heard it described as performing a ballet upside down while holding your breath for 2 minutes, because it is so demanding. I tried it as an adult at our community pool out in Pierrefonds. They tried to get an adult synchro team going.
Oh, good for you.
So I went, but oh my heavens, that was just...
Well, I think you're not going to get in there and be amazing right away. You might have to practice.
You know what I remember is the shark. I remember that from when I tried synchro when I was a teenager. That's right.
Right.
The arm out of the water and you swim sideways with your arm out of it. That's about the only move I can,
I'm trying to remember there was she was a girl at the time, became a woman, obviously. Oh, what's her name? If you grew up on the West Island, you'd know her. And she was part of Canada's synchro team. And she was also, she was very beautiful. beautiful. She went to CJAD with me at John Abbott. And, she was blonde and she always wore makeup and she was very kind of, beautiful. But people used to tease her all the time. And she was a freaking Canadian athlete, and I thought, no respect.
And on one hand, I kind of understand the lack of respect for any sport where you are expected to wear heavy makeup. And that applies to skating, figure skating, as well as synchro back in the day. Remember the really garish makeup that the women had to wear in the water with the really heavy eye makeup. It looked absolutely ridiculous. And I think they've made changes since. It's not the same thing.
No, but I mean, it is a sport that you look at as well, and it's judged and all that. But speaking of women in sport, I'm actually really excited for a conversation that I'm going to have. I'm going to have it before the show with a woman named Tricia Smith, who is the head of the Canadian Olympic Committee. She was on the rowing team in 1976 here in Montreal, which was a big deal because that was the first time women rowers had competed in the Olympics. I know. Can you imagine?
76? That seems late, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Anyway, so I'm really looking forward to talking to her about that because that's an incredible legacy. And of course, here in Canada, the Canadian women's rowing team, like the hockey team, like the soccer team, has, just done so well that you have to take them seriously.
Yeah, definitely. And still involved in the Olympic movement all these years later. That's kind of neat to see.
Yeah, well, I'm anxious to talk to her. Apparently, back in 76, her mother was the chef de mission for Canada. And her sister won a medal in swimming. So they sound like an extraordinary family. No relation, even though they are Smiths. But there are a few Smiths out there. I don't know if you've heard that, Trudy.
Yeah, I've just every now and then. I think I went to school with one. You know what I mean. What else is coming up on Montreal Now?
Well, we're going to be talking about there are plans for a new Ville-Saint-Pierre interchange, which I don't know. You're from Pierrefonds, so you must drive through that all the time?
Every morning, every afternoon,
Right, so you can hear in your tone of your voice, I'm sure most people are thinking that too. Like it is something that needs a redesign. And I remember when they did all that work on the 20 and the formerly Ville Marie, I thought, why are they stopping, at Ville-Saint-Pierre? And now if you take it, of course, it's great until you hit Ville-Saint-Pierre and then you just stop. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk to a doctor about this whole burnout of Canadian doctors, 1 in 10 Canadian doctors.
Very alarming.
The profession. Yeah. We're going to talk about that. We got lots of stuff. Also, I brought you these chips. I don't know if it's good to eat chips on radio, Trudy. And I say I brought them to you. I mean, you can taste them. The bag is mine. Don't even try to take it from me.
I can have one.
These are the Nora Gray chips.
Oh, yes, from Miss Vicky's.
Exactly. I found them today in the store, so I thought we'd try them.
Doing a little taste test.
That, yeah.
Now, this is the flavor that it's the second time, isn't it? They've brought it back after a first run based on an iconic flavor from that particular Montreal restaurant.
Yeah, right. So this is called spicy pepperoncini and focaccia. So.
All right.
Oh, I'll let you taste it when you're not in front of the mic.
Okay. Okay. That'll be, why don't we come back in a moment? Jay, do you think we can go away? We crunch away off air and then come back in a moment with our tasting notes.
Okay.
Sue Smith and I will be back with our tasting notes in just a moment.
It's Charles Barkley with Wayfair. It's outdoor season and my patio set up, that'll be ready to play. That's where Wayfair wins. Patio seating, umbrellas and grills, all delivered fast and easy. Shop wayfair.ca now.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Canadian women are looking for more out of themselves, their businesses, their elected leaders, and the world around them.
And that's why we're thrilled to introduce the Honest Talk podcast.
I'm Jennifer Stewart.
And I'm Catherine Clark. And in this podcast, we interview Canada's most inspiring women.
Entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, politicians, and newsmakers, all at different stages of their journey.
So if you're looking to connect, then we hope you'll join us.
Listen to the Honest Talk podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Okay, Sue Smith, tasting notes for this Miss Vicky's product. What is it called again?
It's called a Ristorante series. There are 3, spicy pepperoncini and focaccia from Nora Gray, the restaurant in, I guess it's Griffintown. What did you think?
I thought it was very nice. Yeah. I thought it was going to be too spicy. Not too spicy. Little tingle on the tongue.
Yeah.
But very savory. I would buy those.
Okay, so I liked but did not love. I have to say, I've tried the cacio e pepe ones, which I love, pepper and cheese. I like those better. They're from a Vancouver restaurant. But, I'm happy that we have a Montreal restaurant that's...
Yeah, darn right.
Is that damning with faint praise?
No, the city gets a shout out from Miss Vicky's. Exactly. I love it. All right. Tune in for Sue Smith sitting in for Aaron Rand on Montreal Now later this afternoon. I would like to thank Jay Farrar and Maxime Cadotte for all the work that goes in behind the scenes of this show. They really are the brain trust behind the Elias Macco Show. Thanks very much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, folks.
Unmistakably Canadian.
It's the music that raised you.
The artists raising the bar.
Hi, this is Brian Adams.
Hey, my name's Brett Emmons. I'm from the Glorious Sons.
Hi, I'm Nelly Furtado.
Made in Canada. The station that champions Canadian music.
Loud, proud, and all yours.
No passports required. Just press play.
Tap into Made in Canada now on iHeartRadio.ca
or the free iHeartRadio app.